Hey, welcome everybody to the Side Quest, your wonderful weekly journey into the world of video games, video game culture, and all the stuff that goes along with it. I'm Dali Demovsky. I may be solo today. Everybody else said they would be here. They said they had days off. Sure, Monday sounds good, Dali. It's Memorial Day. That's why we have it off. So I'm waiting, and we'll see if anybody actually shows up. But luckily there's plenty to talk about. So over the next bit, we'll talk about a few things. Hopefully we can kind of knock this sucker out. I know it's Memorial Day. A lot of us are just kind of hanging out at home, relaxing. I just want to say we're thankful, definitely, for everybody who sacrificed to give us the freedoms that we have today. And we should continue to honor them and their families and their loved ones and keep everybody in our thoughts. So with that said, there's a lot to talk about, like I said, gaming wise. But I did want to focus on the PlayStation showcase. And we'll probably get into a little bit more later this week when the rest of the team shows up, whenever they show up. But I did want to go into it now as sort of the main aspect because, it was the big news this week. Or last week. Was it last Thursday, I think, that it happened? I think it did. Anyways, we had been waiting for a PlayStation showcase for, I think September 2021 was the last one. So over a year and a half. And certainly it seems like we were due for a massive showing. We've had a lot of games released since then. We had God of War, Ragnarok. We had Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo. A lot of games have come out from PlayStation first-party studios, so it's due to time to show us what is coming up from their first parties. At least we thought so. So I'm gonna let this play in the background, and I can kind of talk to it a little bit. On my end, sorry. the what we ended up getting, and I'm just kind of gonna note it right now, is a subpar PlayStation showcase. Now, game quality wise, there were certainly plenty of really cool things that, and it'll all show up here. Plenty of really cool things that were showcased. A few surprises too, and we got to see work from first party studios. There were like 4 projects, I think, or maybe more from first party studios. You had you had Bungie, you had Firewalk, you had Haven, you had Insomniac, obviously. So here's Haven's game. So there was definitely some stuff that was showcased from first parties. However, a few of these are, they're going to be available on several platforms. So platform exclusives didn't seem to be around all that much. That was the first thing. We want to know what those platform exclusives are, because I think Xbox had that cheeky tweet afterwards that basically said, hey, great to see all these cool games coming to Xbox platforms, including, I don't know, maybe Fair Game. I don't know if that's coming to Xbox platforms or not, but I know Marathon is. I know some of the other stuff is. Metal Gear Solid is. And so that felt like, this is a great third-party showcase. I think that's something you could kind of say, because we even got to see more of Assassin's Creed and things like that. But the expectation was really, really high for this showcase. Like, people were expecting Naughty Dog's next thing, or at least The Last of Us multiplayer. Is there a Ghost of Tsushima, project coming up? And what's Sucker Punch doing? What are the Jack and Daxter folks? What are they working on? I know Insomniac is there. Are we going to see anything from Wolverine? Are we going to see stuff from Sony Santa Monica? Or, I think there was a significant lack of content from those heavy hitters. And that's what people were really hoping and expecting to see, was the project from those folks. Again, we got to see like Fair Games or Fair Game or Fair Game $. I don't even know. We got to see stuff from them and Haven. They are first party studios, but not that they're not exciting. This guy's not exciting. Jim Ryan, way to put the wrong person out there. He's no Kevin Butler, that's for sure. Uh, it just such high expectations and did not deliver on those expectations. Now, did Sony set those expectations, or were the fans setting those expectations? You know what? Sony set those expectations. PlayStation did, because you don't hold off this long on something you call a PlayStation showcase, and deliver the stuff that wasn't going to excite fans the same way. There were a lot of multiplayer shooters, whether they're looter shooters, whether they're whatever, a lot of games as a service products. And it's like, okay, cool, but I want big single player stories. Me and I think a lot of players, they want big single player stories. They want big experiences. I first saw this, thought, oh, cool, Fallout. No, it's not Fallout. It's something else. So, I think Sony dropped the ball on that aspect. They really needed to have more of a focus on those. Now, granted, we know projects like that are in the works and they're in different stages, and obviously the pandemic and other things threw the dev teams for a loop. You could just show a Metroid Prime 4 style logo and just say, hey, guess what? Look at that big logo behind us. We're working on Ghost of Tsushima 2. That's all you have to do, and people will get freaking excited. And they're going to say, all right, there's stuff coming up. Xbox did that a few years back when they did their showcase of all the new studios they had picked up, and they said, here's Avowed, and here's this, and here's that. And you could just show some logos for that kind of stuff. You have to get fans excited. You really do. And fans were not, the general sentiment was people were not as excited as they really could be in this. So I think Sony definitely dropped the ball from that aspect. Again, some of this stuff looks cool. Maybe it is or it isn't the stuff that I'm super interested in. Like, I'm not big into this, build a base and destroy bugs thing. But certainly the Final Fantasy stuff was really cool. Again, yet another Final Fantasy trailer. I mean, I'm always good for Final Fantasy 16 trailers, but guess what? Rebirth 2, people or whatever, they're Awakening or whatever that's called. People are waiting for that. Hey, Taylor, how's it going?
What's going on?
Perfect. We're just talking about the being me. Just talking about this sort of lackluster PlayStation showcase with they had high expectations going in that Sony kind of manifested by not telling us what this was going to be in advance, and then not really delivering on that, because the games they showed, while they were cool games showed, it wasn't the first party exclusives that I think people were really hoping and expecting from Sony.
Yeah, I mean, it's the bed that they made by
right
pumping. I mean, listen, it's a strategy they had to pump up PS5 early in the life cycle. Made it look like that's what they're going to be able to repeat. They can't, because it's crazy to think that they could.
Yeah.
And the days of like widespread third-party exclusives are dead. It's a miracle that they've managed
widespread exclusives. Yeah.
Widespread. Obviously, we know the timed exclusives for Square Enix stuff still lives on and things like that. But
those are only console exclusives, right? They'll still come to PC stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm saying that even the PC to transition is still timed.
Yep.
It's as close as it gets.
Yeah.
PC's more competitive than it ever was before, despite how bad the ports have been lately. And yeah, I mean, it's, I personally, it's weird because I've fallen outside of the kind of sphere of hype for this kind of stuff. Like,
sure,
the fact that Sony hadn't done one in 2 years was like, I don't know. They still participate in Game Awards. They still do the summer stuff. Like, I haven't.
They have their little state of play thing,
right? I haven't felt like we're waiting. Had been waiting for a big Sony announcement personally, but that could just be me falling further outside the overall sphere of influence.
It might be. I mean, for me, I really felt like Sony did what Sony over the last year and a half, or almost 2 years now, did what Nintendo did in 2020 and
a little bit
2022, which was we don't need a big show. We'll just kind of eke out these little, these little announcements, these little drops here and there. And that worked for Nintendo, who already had a massive install base and could just say, hey, you know what? Mario Collection.
Nintendo had another thing going for it, right? Which is the fact that, yes, it did all of those things. But you know what it also had? It also had a dedicated Zelda showcase. It had a dedicated Pokemon showcase. It had a dedicated something else showcase was in there too. They have their huge Nintendo IPs that were like State of Play. They don't need that because it's like, okay, here's one showcase just about this one game that we know that people care about. I was gonna make a joke.
They do the State of Play for that, but they don't do a full show. Exactly. Yeah. So it's just interesting to my, I think
why not just incorporate this into the summer one? I don't know. This is it's very bizarre.
Well, I think for me,
it indicates to me that they don't have much coming this summer.
I agree. I totally agree because they're almost all third parties. Now, granted, Ghost Runner 2, I'm pretty excited for.
Yeah, Ghost Runner 2 does look cool.
Avium looks pretty cool. The only other aspect is so many games as a service products in this, and I think that was.
Man, they're leaning hard.
They're leaning hard, and it's like I almost feel, and we've kind of joked about it in the past, but it almost feels like we're kind of on the downward swing of that parabolic curve, where it's like people don't want to hear that. That was great. Like 2 years ago, if you said game as a service and has all this cool stuff, Division is up. People.
Well, here's the thing: is that like cool. We didn't call them gases yet. Yeah, right. We didn't call them games as a service yet. Yeah. It was like. We called them living games. We called them, maybe live service games, but we didn't call them games as a service.
Right.
And that was part of the reason why it worked. The kind of genre, I don't call it a genre because obviously they can all exist. Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? The monetization and development style for games as a service has largely been figured out, barring very big innovations in one way or the other. They're all going to look so similar now.
Yeah, they are.
In terms of how they play, how they're scheduled, that kind of cadence of release, that cadence of progression. They're going to be like,
battle
wow.
pass in their seasons. There's a battle pass.
Right, yeah. It's like it's all going to start to feel very samey. I personally think that Diablo 4 is going to sell a shit ton, but after about 8 weeks is going to be like, I've played this game before, and no, you haven't played Diablo 4.
Is but one of the I wouldn't necessarily pigeonhole Diablo 4 in that, only because it's Diablo and it's just so fucking huge. It's
well, that's what I'm saying. It's going to sell. It's going to sell. It's going to sell. Like, it's not going to affect its sales, but I think that the sentiment in 2 months, 4 months is going to be Diablo 3. Kind of fixed itself after the real money auction house nonsense, but it was redeemed. And I don't know. I'm just in a pessimistic mood, but my hopes aren't high, especially after some of the stuff that they've been talking about. And with Diablo 3 never launched. Like, we know about the battle pass for Diablo 4 before it releases, and that's releasing as a $70 video game.
Yeah,
it's hard to not feel a little bit disheartened.
I agree.
But yeah, what Sony is clearly very heavily leaning. They bought Bungie for a reason. I don't know. Games like this only do so much to alleviate it. I don't know. I'm just wondering where is there will we see a tipping point? Will there be a vocal tipping point on? Okay, what are we doing? Are we going to do a real game again? That kind of thing. I don't know.
It's not sales because Sony's selling consoles and they're selling games and stuff, and depending on it's going to be really interesting from the live service standpoint. I think that's what you're getting at. The live service standpoint. When are we going to be? I don't want to say fed up, but is there going to be a tipping point from that standpoint? I don't know. I'm not sure. I see something like this sort of the sea that looked really cool because it looked really different. It was like Journey 2 almost. I think people were joking around, and I thought,
well, it's
that,
from the
to me,
same art director. So
yeah. And for me, I thought, okay, cool, that looks different and refreshing. It's not an exclusive, from what I know. People feel free to correct me, but yeah, it just didn't look. It looked cool, and I just hope that we get to see more of that, but we don't. Right? We get. I hate to say we get another sci-fi game that has live service elements and
what?
Now Talos Principle.
I was gonna say
I was gonna jump into Marathon.
We've got the actual only other game that was
that we were really excited about as a team. Talos Principle, because the original one, I got partway through it and I freaking loved it, and I got sidetracked by something else. But just a great kind of ethereal. No, what's the esoteric puzzle game, sci-fi puzzle game?
A little bit,
but little bit. But yeah, so cool. Cool announcement. Talos also coming to every platform out there. And you had let's see what else is there. I'm flipping through this. This looked really cool. This is from the Gris folks, or Grease, or whatever. I don't know how the game is pronounced, which I freaking love. This sort of art style, art influenced game. The sequel to this looked really interesting. Beautiful art again. You're basically a character. She befriends this wolf cub, and it grows with you and has its own personality. Blah blah blah, and then it eventually dies, as we see here in the trailer. Cool idea, cool premise. Also multi-platform, and it's like you click through a lot of these. Oh, cool! Did you need to show Cat Quest? And that was the weirdest thing to me, is to see Cat Quest in a. Yeah,
I mean, it was definitely stood out in a odd way.
Surprisingly, really good, competent adventure RPG. By the way, I actually
right. It's not fun. It's not speaking to the quality of the game. It speaks to the kind of game that you expected to be showcased by Sony.
Yep. And then you have this, which is just, hey, there's a Splatoon game with foam, and it's now there's no charm in this because
it's so lifeless.
I did a list. I did a list of all the Splatoon likes that have come out since Splatoon. Now, granted, Splatoon isn't the first 4x4 multiplayer shooter out there, obviously, but it did something fun from that sort of pop standpoint. Look at this. I mean, they're totally trying to be Splatoon, but there's no character to the characters. Splatoon, you have squids. Crayola Scoot, at least, that came out, and that was garbage, but at least we knew it's Crayola, so we get it because colors.
It's crayons, yeah.
It's crayons. Ninjala or whatever. I remember Sam and I played that at E3 years ago, and it was kind of jank back then. And when it launched on, I think it's still a Switch exclusive, or maybe it's Switch and PC. When it launched on Switch, it was kind of jank, but has a really strong following. Again, it's a Splatoon-like because it actually went off and did its own thing as a free-to-play game with seasons and stuff, and it has charm. This has no charm. This is just, hey, these are the kind of characters that look like they should belong in Fortnite, but now we just have foam. It's Foam Night. And it's like, okay, I'm not interested at all. Sweet. Cool. The last time I was in a foam party was in college at spring break, and I want to leave all that behind. Now this, Plucky
Squire.
This has shown up a couple times. I don't know if it was Sony the last time or where, but this game looks fantastic. I'm actually really excited for Plucky Squire. Again, multi-platform game. Really excited for Plucky Squire. Just gorgeous art, great concept. Look at it's the art style is just so cool. You're in a freaking book. It has that Tunic feel.
Yeah.
From a couple, from last year, which is just this really interesting take on what an adventure, action adventure RPG could be. And I think there's some real magic that's going to be happening in this game. But yeah, again, cool game. But again, still sort of I don't want to say indie, but it's kind of indie-ish.
It definitely is.
Does it belong here? Maybe it could potentially belong. It has a little bit of the Little Big Planet type of stuff, which is kind of cool.
I mean, I just feel like it would be more footnoted than like in another year in another showcase. It would just be kind of like that game's still coming.
Then there was this, which is Teardown, which is on PC already.
Which has been on PC for many. I mean, it was open. I think it was early. It was EA for a very long time on PC, and has been officially out on PC for a while.
Yep. I don't even remember what this game was.
This was the Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, the Metal Gear. That's wow. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid, which is sorry, Metal Gear Solid Delta. So it is
which is Snake Eater, but
it's Snake Eater for the folks. Am I excited? Sure. People have wanted to see this game remade, and it's been in rumors for like 10 years, probably maybe even longer. That they were making this game. Obviously, Kojima's not involved. I don't know the dev team they have behind it. I don't know how capable they are to give this game justice. This was legit just a graphical like this has nothing to do with Metal Gear Solid, just crocodiles and snakes and stuff to keep the ducks out of my
You're in the jungle.
You're in the jungle. But why are you in the jungle? Oh, it's a dude coming out of the water. I don't know how competent they're going to be. I'm going to hold my breath hold my judgment until it comes. Not hold my breath. Sorry. I'm going to hold my judgment. If I hold my breath, I'll probably die. Hold my judgment, defer judgment until it actually arrives. But yeah, whatever. It's Konami. It's them farming out teams. I know Zach has some trepidations. I would have loved to hear from him because he had some good comments in Discord about what this dev team has done before. But yeah, I mean, it could end up being really, really big for Konami because Konami's making like money hand over fist.
Yeah.
Really weird with like every game they put out, every collection they put out makes a ton of money. Now, the next thing I thought was really cool because they said, oh, hey, by the way, all those Metal Gear Solid games 1 through 3 are going to be available later this year with some cleaned up visuals, whatever, the HD versions. And they announced that this is Master Collection 1, which, there's going to be Master Collection 2, I guess. But with Master Collection 1, the original 2 Metal Gear games are going to be in there as well. And maybe some other goodies too, which is kind of a neat thing. I'm almost like, just give me those instead. So I think that could be kind of cool. This was some like town building thing, right? Where
it was a town builder, and with a eerily similar paraglider animation to Breath of the Wild, like.
And then obviously there was this, which was
Final Fantasy 16, which was fine, but kind of a weird trailer to me.
Yeah.
Obviously we've seen a lot of the footage of this game.
Yeah, I don't want to see any more. This is the point where it's like I'm done. Don't oversell me on this game.
Well, this was what was just odd is that compared to the rest of the stuff that was shown, this was just like weird, almost meaningless voiceover clips and just the cutty visual. I don't know. It's just like
I think it's just kind of a poor, that it's just coming out.
It's just a poor cut trailer. It feels like to me.
It's like, hey guys, remember this is still a PlayStation exclusive, and that was it. Next.
It felt like they were trying to sell me on a blockbuster movie. I was like,
right,
okay. I mean, that's not what Final Fantasy 16 is.
Then there was
Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake 2, which we knew was happening. Now we've got a release date, October. Cool. You had
also multi-platform.
Also
Epic Game Store.
Yep. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Also multi-platform. It's like it just kind of goes back to the original Assassin's Creed feel. Finji's next game, which is
I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game before. I'm sure it's going to be different.
Never played. Finji's next game, Revenant Hill. Finji does great work, but I'm looking forward to again. Also multi-platform. Cool stuff, but I keep wanting to say where's the first party thing, and the other aspect of this that really got to me was just a horrible, unfriendly presentation style. You had Jim Ryan, who nobody likes, comes out and says, we're going to change the world with PlayStation. Check this out. And then he walks away and you never see him again, except for like a couple little voiceovers here and there. And it's just literally just trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer with nothing linking any, like at least the Xbox and Nintendo Directs will have somebody coming in. Hey, if you liked RPGs, check out some of these. I mean, that kind of stuff adds life to presentations. Sometimes. But this felt legit like a YouTube playlist. It's like, oh, what's the next trailer to go through this playlist, And then put a snazzy PlayStation logo bumper in between. That did nothing for me. That killed it for me.
What killed it for me is that on trailers similar, I don't know if it was this game specifically. Actually, I think this was one of them. The soundscapes on the trailers were very bad.
You mentioned that, yeah.
You get background music, just BGM. and
Yep. Yep.
that's it. It's BGM and then some lines, but it's it's like they ripped these trailers out way too early. Where Sony was kind of pressuring them a little bit, be like, listen, we need this content for the showcase we're putting on, and because sound effects just aren't there.
Hey, guess what? Have you ever heard of Street Fighter?
I haven't not heard of Street Fighter enough. If you want me to be honest,
we got it. Cool. Yeah, Street Fighter's coming. We know it's not an exclusive, by the way. This game looked kind of cool. This was sort of a Metroidvania-ish. I forget the name of it, but just really kind of interesting art style. And it reminds me of this and the Finji game especially remind me of the kind of projects you'd see in an Xbox showcase, like an Xbox E3 showcase, which when they talk about, hey, by the way, Xbox Arcade, check out our great indie devs, and they have like an actual indie dev section. Again, Sony just didn't. There was no good production value to this showcase. Like you could have led people together to say, we're working with our great indie partners, and just have somebody voice it up. We're working with our great indie partners and studio partners to create, to showcase games like this, and you're missing that. And I think looks great, but I don't think it does justice to the
I don't even think they need a presenter to do it. It's just that it was it just felt cobbled. Like
it did.
It was more that there was no structure rather than there was no narration. Like
that's what I meant.
I don't need a talking head to be like, oh, now I get to learn about the indies. Like that part will be obvious when it's paced right and when the games are in the right, like the quote unquote right order. The right order is the order where it works, right? I'm not saying that there's one specific way that they have to be put into place, but
this, like, again, there's graphical stuff. It's like, here's that PlayStation logos after that trailer ended, and now here's a new trailer. Cool, great. It's like you're not doing it right when you're pacing things out that way. And then you get, another RPG. Cool. Again, not that it's bad or anything, but it looks good, but it just doesn't pace.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Dragon's Dogma 2 looks good. Finally, the first real gameplay, which is kind of cool. Again, great content, stuff that we've been waiting for and wanting to see, but you're missing those. It's a lot of jabs. It's a lot of jabs in like a boxing match. It's like, I'm gonna keep jabbing you to wear you down. It's like, well, yeah, bro, I've had my arms up and you haven't worn me down. I've been waiting for your big punches, and those didn't show up. And they waited for they throw the haymaker at the end with Insomniac's Spider-Man 2, but we already knew that was on the way. Like that wasn't.
Yeah, we could have guessed. We could have guessed what that was gonna be.
Could have guessed what that was gonna be. So again, multi-platform game, and I think that's what everything that kept coming up. I want to say, looks great. It's multi-platform. Looks great. I mean, granted, those happen in Xbox, those happen in Nintendo, but you do have much more of an emphasis on first part. And hey, did you guys like Five Nights at Freddy's in VR? Good. Enjoy Five Nights at Freddy's in VR. Here's Resident Evil 4 in VR, which was what Capcom was showing. It's like, cool, guys. A PSVR. It doesn't show well in showcases. So, I don't know. Then you got, you got some cool things. By the way, that was Ultra Hand. By the way, I know, right? Ultra Hand out of that one. I think it was Synapse. Yeah, Synapse looks kind of cool. So there's definitely some interesting things on there, and then this pops up, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. Bungie's next new game, cool. Marathon, great. They're rebooting Marathon into a live service game, and it has been. I made the point. It's been about 26.2 years since the last Marathon game was released when they showcased this game. So, and Marathon is 26.2 miles. Cool. Just super simple teaser that shows you nothing except for folks running.
Yeah, I mean, we found out after. Oh, is my mic not working now?
It's working now. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, good. Yeah, we found out afterwards because I guess there was probably a presser that went out.
Yeah.
It is a extraction PvP shooter.
You can read about that on SideQuesting.com. Yes, extraction PvP,
and which of course completely removed all interest for me personally. But
So for those that, again, a lot of folks are just kind of getting used to what extraction. It's basically looter shooters is what people call them, which is it's not so much killing everybody and being the last person standing. It's getting the most crap out of there and getting the hell out of there. It's like get the most crap in the game and get out.
Yeah, you don't need to survive to the last. What you need to do is get what you want and then escape to a designated extraction point.
Yep.
And if you die, you lose the stuff that you brought with
go back
you
and get.
And if you can, sometimes you can't. The way that so obviously the most popular one is Tarkov, and the way that Tarkov does it is you can buy insurance on the gear that you bring, and if nobody picks it up when the match ends, you can get some of it back.
And then obviously the
Destiny 2 trailer. They're bringing back Cade 6
or multi-platform. Yep. This was the game from Haven Concord. This is Jade Raymond's studio.
Right. We still have no idea what the game is because it's
a live service
literally
game.
just cool.
Yeah, it is a live service game. Then it's like, hey guys, let's look at another Gran Turismo movie trailer. Why? Cool. And then we got into the cool aspect here. Let me rewind this just a little bit here so you can see. This
is the most replayed of the trailer of the whole showcase. Very interesting. Yeah, because it's so literally the biggest nothing burger of the whole show.
The Wii U controller.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We talked about it pretty decently when Project Q was first kind of leaked out there. This device is just it's just a waste of money.
So I'm going to pause right here when you actually see it, and bam. Okay, you see my pointer?
Yeah.
Okay, this. As a designer, this infuriates me.
The angles are so sharp.
The angles are so sharp and severe, and this will get snagged and dropped and broken and cracked because where are you going to put this? Are you going to put it on a table? It's going to fall off the table, and this corner is going to hit. You're going to be picking this sucker off the table, and it'll hit a table. It'll land on a couch. It'll get caught on strings or something. Like controllers already kind of get caught, but they're generous enough in design that they play test them. This makes me mad. You're gonna need to fill this whole thing in, which I'm guessing they're going to do it, but you're gonna need to fill this sucker in. But you don't show a device like this and say, check this out, when it's clearly
it's kind of nuts.
It's like a device that somebody created in SketchUp or in Blender really quick. Was like, what do we do? I don't know. Take a PS4 controller in data, just like cut it apart in data, and just stick a switch in the middle. And it's like, man, that's all. There is no design empathy. Again, I'm the designer on staff. That's my profession. It makes me extremely angry to see this. When you already have cloud gaming devices in your pocket. Granted, yes, we know the phone isn't the perfect cloud gaming streaming device, but the whole purpose of this device, you can't leave your house with it. They have it. This is still based on connecting to your PlayStation, and it's strictly designed for the times when you don't have access to your TV, like in your house. You can watch your favorite episode of Succession and play God of War Ragnarok at the same time. It's like, bro, if you have a PS5, if you laid down the money for a device like this,
it's just weird.
You're going to want it on the big screen TV.
Because the whole point of PS5 is the power and performance that it gets.
Yeah.
That's the angle that they keep taking.
Yep.
And then they say, forget about that. And instead play on a 7-inch screen.
Yeah. And by the way, also, there are no advantages to this touchscreen in games. Like at least with the Wii U, stuff had to be played on the, stuff that was on the screen you could interact with. It was a map or it was a second screen, whatever. It's not like that with the PS5.
And then they're going to make buds for some reason.
They're going to make earbuds. Cool, because you can't find them for next to nothing out there already. But oh my God, and that also makes me mad. A sliding thing, which is, again, that's also going to get busted.
That's so easy to break that, man.
It's so easy. That I'm very mad at Sony's designers. Again, Jim Ryan, just get off the stage. And then at least, I mean, we got Spider-Man 2. Cool. Everybody was expecting this and looking forward to it. I'm glad like the angle is Craven and he's looking for an equal. So he's going after the Lizard in New York. And so and they're expanding into Brooklyn as well, I guess. So it's going to be a pretty good sized map. Tears of the Kingdom style expansion. But put this is what your showcase should have led off with, because this was a known, we knew they were going to show this. It's like,
yeah, but the issue is that they can't lead with this.
But see, I would have,
what do you close
if
with?
they had, I was gonna say, if they had something cool, you lead with this.
Yeah, that's a big if, and then we know that the if is that they didn't.
That you could have ended it with Metal Gear and Dragon's Dogma or whatever. I mean, he could have.
You end on a third party non-exclusive.
Right, that's true. No, you can't. No, they don't, and they didn't have first party exclusive. And I think again, they show some gameplay and some cool stuff, and it's
quite a bit of gameplay.
It looks like Spider-Man, baby. It looks exactly like Spider-Man. There's some cool new aspects. You got the black spider suit. The
I think the hardest part is that there's some gameplay differences here from the first one, but I don't know. You could have told me that this was the first one, and I would have been like, yeah, sure, I believe you. The hardest part for me
Miles
is that
Morales at all? Or?
I didn't play Miles Morales. Okay,
so there's a lot. Like obviously, this is Miles. He's jumping around.
I too watched the showcase. So. Okay. But I saw some gameplay of Miles Morales. It's not. If somebody said that this was a second expansion to the first Spider-Man game, they would believe you, right? There's nothing that happens here that's like, oh man, they can do this in the new Spider-Man game now. What? Wow.
Now, am I excited for this? Totally, I'm excited. For
of course,
play day one purchase, yada yada yada. But again, a known quantity. So, to kind of cap it off, we knew it was coming from Sony, and it was not a lot of great.
Yeah, but now we have edgy. Now we have edgy Spider-Man back. So I'm finally. I can.
By the
way,
that's so weird looking. The graphical things on the suit there is just weird. I know it's on purpose. Yeah. Hey, it's Spider-Man. It's great. I'm excited for it. It's probably going to be a Game of the Year contender. We got a lot of those already, so it's good. But again, it's everybody was looking forward to this. We knew it was coming. Where was everything else? And I don't think there was enough of everything else. So a couple questions. Needs bigger blends. Yeah, as a Class A service. Oh my God, dude. This is something. I'm glad he gets it. No, that's very. It's yes. Class A service. By mentioning that, we include tangency, not just blends, as a designer class service. That's designer talk. Thank you, Exadramoose. Hop into the Discord and chat. He's got great mulch photos. Great games in that showcase, but not an exciting showcase. And I think there were several layers of issues. But one other news bite that I did want to get into before we get into the single thing that everybody's been playing right now. And I thought this was actually kind of an interesting one, is that the Nintendo shut down the Steam launch of the Dolphin emulator.
So here's what's interesting, actually, is that yes, Nintendo did technically shut it down.
Technically,
but the order of events isn't quite that. So first thing, folks from Dolphin say, all right, we're gonna open this on Steam, which seemed like a neat idea. Other emulator stuff is out there, RetroArch among others.
I use RetroArch nonstop,
and it does cool stuff like being able to do cloud saves of retro stuff or of emulator stuff. So doing it for Dolphin would have been a neat step. So that was the first thing. Is Dolphin says that we're going to put it on Steam. They make a link and all that jazz. And Valve, doing its the right choice, well-intentioned due diligence, goes, hey, Nintendo, why don't you just take a quick peeksies and let us know if we got a problem here before this comes out. And Nintendo was like, yep, You sure do, because what the Dolphin folks did was embed Wii binaries into the core files of the Dolphin emulator.
Yep.
So to do the really quick recap, emulators themselves aren't a problem. Technically, we're going to walk the gray market or the gray line here of, yeah, fine, you can run your emulator. Don't tell your mom about it, kind of thing. The thing is that ever since like PS2 era times, there's these bin files, basically the BIOS of the device. Ever since they became more computer-like, and the way that common law has ruled it out is that if you have to produce those own BIOS files from your system. Yep. And that's how you know it's legitimate, because you've produced them on top of having the original game, the original game media. So basically, for the Dolphin emulator that was going to be on Steam, those files for the Wii are embedded, which means that they can't be unique to you, and Nintendo now knows it. So the distribution of that emulator would mean that it has been truly pirated. That's the overall standpoint.
Yeah. So this is a huge no-no. I mean, that's one standpoint. Like we emulate crap all the time.
It's actually crazy. It's crazy to me that it got this far. That they tried to do it.
Yes, I agree.
Because this one has been proven time and again that anybody that knows a little bit about that's been a part of it for any substantive amount of time would be like, yes, we know that's the one thing that we can't do. You can't distribute.
Yes.
Like
the actual.
If you want to do modern day emulation of anything, like I said, kind of GameCube or later type of time frame, the one thing that you can't make available easily are those bin files, those BIOS files. So it's just like they did it anyway.
They did it
for some reason. So weird stuff.
Just wild. Yeah, I think that's it for the news stuff. And there were some other things, and we may have a second show later this week. This is sort of the catch up from last week, because we're all out and doing stuff, and I was flying to Florida and all that stuff. And we will have and of course JJ said he was available today. He's like, I got the day off. I'm totally going to join. So
he's a big liar,
JJ.
though.
Yeah, big.
He fell asleep, probably.
He probably did. Which is totally fine. It's just you and I. And I'm going to guess you're probably still playing Zelda, basically, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything to talk about. My feelings haven't changed since the last time we talked about it.
I'm going to ask you this question. Have you been using the dupe?
Yeah.
Duplicate? Oh, yeah. You get 99 diamonds, baby.
I did not go that far.
Oh, I went. That the B plus Y duplication method.
I know it's so stupid easy.
It's so stupid. By the way, do not if you haven't upgraded, don't upgrade.
I haven't. I literally have to click. I have to click start. I have to click start software anyway for like the past 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's my feeling on it. The game is already really big and really long.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I like shit. My wife was watching me earlier before the show, and it's like, yeah, I can see how you would just like spend a lot of time just like not beating the game. And I have the ability to dupe it, and I haven't I've used it, but the one thing that I don't feel the absolute need to do is be like, oh, you know what I need? I need more ice berries.
Right.
Let's go farm ice berries for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It got the traversal of the world so correct. It got I want to be there. I want to be doing things. It's just that the doing things doesn't involve farming materials to be able to fight, to be able to cook, to be like all those things already take the time that I have and spend it well. I don't want to also spend that time
duping
collecting the things.
Yeah. So
yeah.
No, I'm kind of in the same boat. The game is designed so well that it's not the only game that does this. I know Elden Ring did it similarly as well. By the way, after playing more of Tears of the Kingdom, I want to get back into Elden Ring because it's so weird. Breath of the Wild did that to me. Like I finished Breath of the Wild late, And as soon as I finished that, I got right back into Ragnarok, and right back into God of War, and I plowed through God of War. Like that was my summer back in 2020. So what the game does really well is like you'll get a quest that says, "Hey, I need 3 diamond," or let's say I need 5 of these frogs. I'm like, all right, cool. These frogs, by the way, and they'll tell you I found them in this zone. Go find them in this area. All right, cool. I can just drop frogs. I can dupe frogs nonstop. But if you go to this area to find those frogs, you'll be like, oh shit, I'll get bubbles. I'll get bubble gems and out of it because there's something else there. Like you'll go there, you'll be like, oh, the point wasn't to get the frogs. It's not a collection quest. It's literally go to this area because there's
every bit was
there.
like,
There's a Korok there. Yeah.
I actually had a problem where, and this was not related to dupes, which was I just kind of like went out. And so when we had the kind of like our collection of missed connections that we were exploring when we were talking about it the first time of like, oh, I went here and you went there.
Yeah. God, so cool.
Like I just like didn't go to the stables.
Yeah, I didn't go until this past weekend. I did not go to a single stable. Except for the first one. That's just the first one.
I didn't even go to the first one.
Yeah.
And kind of circling back on, so I just was like, I went to the Sky Towers, and because my goal was to get map,
open up the map,
and go high, because that was the thing that was fun to me.
I love getting high. It's great.
All the time. But the thing is that now that I've kind of circled back, like there are. It's all the one time where I was like, Nintendo, you probably should have steered me a little tighter. Because it's
so
like
easy to get distracted in the game.
Yeah, it's so easy to get distracted, and because there's so many things to do. But then I come back and it's like, let me teach you how to ride a horse. It's like, dog, I found like 18 horses since I've been out there. By the way,
did your horses from Breath of the Wild show up in the stables in this game?
No, because I played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U.
Okay. Now, that was really cool. I did not know that was a thing. I went to when I finally got started on the stables after I opened up just about every freaking Sky Tower, Skyview Tower. I went to one stable, and it was about like talk about the horse god. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll. I ended up capturing a horse that had a cart attached to it. I had to kill a bokoblin that was riding this cart. So I kill the bokoblin, I steal his horse and cart, just great. And I had to get the poor Korok to the other end. And if you pick up the Korok and drop him, you feel like you're gonna just drop him and he's gonna scoot over to his buddy down this hill. But if you drop him down the hill, he actually veers left. So I drop this Korok and I watch him bounce all the way down the hill, and then he shoots off to the left. I'm like, shit. And he goes off the left like 700 yards. So I'm like, well, how am I going to get down there so fast and pick him up? I don't want to carry him all the way. And I turn around, I'm like, oh shit, I robbed that bokoblin of his horse and carriage. So I get on top of the horse and I take the cart all the way down, pick up my guy, the Korok, and then scoot him over and get the points. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to register my first horse. So I take the horse and I go back to the stable that I was at. And I walk up, I'm like, I'd like to register this horse. And the guy goes, you already have 3 horses here. You need to open up one more slot. I'm like, wait, what? And the horses carried over I'm like, oh shit, Epona's there. It was so cool. I'm like, this is awesome.
Shit, that is cool.
But one thing I will say, the only duplication stuff that I've done is rubies and like just some light gem stuff. It's like, I don't want to, there are some things that I want to buy. And I'm like, I don't want to have to go out and just keep, hunting frogs or hunting things, go back and sell it, hunting things, go back and sell it. I'm like,
I feel a little bit bad because it's clear that the clothing and the sets are meant to be a little bit harder to get.
Yes.
But like, again, how it all comes back to like, there's some insinuations that you're supposed to make.
There's a reason that they're harder, right? There's a because they want you to experiment with other shit.
Yes,
like
I just like time is a commodity that I lack, and if it was me younger, then we'd be having a different conversation.
Sure, same here.
But it's not.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this. So I love collecting amiibo. And then JJ introduced me to all and I know you can buy like amiibo cards online for like different amiibo, like for like, pennies in the dollar based on it. So I ended up, there's an app that JJ got me on, Tagmiibo. And I ended up grabbing like these little, the NFC discs. And I don't want to open the amiibo that I have because I have a lot of I have every Zelda amiibo except for the Skyward Sword Link. I have every single one except for Skyward Sword Link. I'm a massive, you guys know I'm a dumb, stupid amiibo shopper. So what I ended up doing was getting these guys and then using that Tagmiibo app and saying, okay, here's the Twilight Princess link, here's the Wolf link, here are all the ones that I have in the packages that won't read through because some of the packages have the foil on the bottom, some of the newer ones don't. So you can and can't scan the amiibo on there. So through the box. So the ones that I couldn't scan through the box, here you go. And I've written this is like a case of like 40 for like $8 or some stupid price there. It's totally cheap. I ended up not buying coffee for like 3 days or 2 days. Yeah, I bought those and I just loaded up on the Zelda amiibo and other amiibo that I wanted. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get some free treasure chests and free fabric for the next. And that's not cheating. That's just me being too lazy to open the freaking amiibo.
Too lazy,
boxes.
sure. Definitely not just because you're trying to
collect and sell them, get my daughter college funding later on in life. Yeah, that's actually likely what they are. But yeah, that's the only real cheating I've been doing. But I'm still I'm freaking loving Zelda. I checked finally, the times finally started showing up and I'm clicking through the list. Now I can't see how many hours you've put in because you did a nice job in blocking some of your times there.
Unintentionally.
Private. Yeah, unintentionally. But like Zach has like 80 hours in already. He's doing some guide work too. Hire Zach, but if anybody needs some guide writing or needs some freelance stuff, Zach's your guy. So he's getting a lot of stuff done there. I have so many friends that are 60 to 80 hours already. A couple of my buddies are over 100 that are not reviewing it. And I'm just like, man, I'm so jealous that people have this much time over literally 2 weeks worth. I don't know how people can get 100 hours in 2 weeks. And I'm thinking, okay,
you're making me curious.
40 hours in a work week. I'm going to guess, Taylor, you probably have 35 to 40 hours in the game. I'm at about 30 hours in the game right now.
All right, let's see. Where do you see it?
If you click on your profile.
Just from the profile section?
Yeah.
It says 50.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I said 35 to 40. 50 sounds right. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's probably accurately 35 to 40. And then
that's, yeah. Then it's like
there are idle times where it's just like, I couldn't even press the home button. I press start. And that counts as the game is still running to the Switch system. So
I think I'm at, like I said, 30, 35 hours, somewhere around there. But yeah, it's just cool to see everybody just pouring. Like I open up the Switch and it says you have 22 friends online. I'm like, I don't have to wonder what they're playing. I know.
Yeah.
Zelda. It's like
what's always funny is that like I see Gan hop on.
Yeah.
And it's always Mario Odyssey first.
Yeah. I'm wondering why he's
And so I don't know if like that's a thing that like I felt like it would be a really good Gan goof that he specifically boots into Mario Odyssey just to like throw people off his trail.
Those Mario games like New Super Mario U Deluxe and Mario 3D World. I think maybe he really fell in love with the Mario movie and now he has to play with this kid.
I was wondering about that too, if that was the actual reason as opposed to the
they're great. Odyssey's a phenomenal game. By the way, we'll close the show because it's getting late and I've got to go actually do some furniture shopping online while the Memorial Day sales are going. But the Mario team hasn't done anything in a first party game. They've been working on their project since 2017 and we don't know what that is. And is it Odyssey 2? It's
really long.
Something. It's been a long time for the Mario team to work on something.
You think they would do Odyssey 2?
They could. They totally could do Odyssey 2. And
I know they could.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would though.
They, I don't know. I thought that we would have seen Galaxy 2 released by now, and that's probably They don't have a showcase scheduled yet. There's some light buzz going that they'll have a showcase like the week of the 12th and 13th, like what would have been E3 week. But I could actually see them dropping Galaxy 2 this year, just as like a download type of thing. Other than that, maybe they're actually going to the full remake update for that. I have no idea, but yeah, what is the Mario team working on? What's Miyamoto working on besides movies? I have no idea. I have no idea. But other than that, we'll figure out. We'll talk more later this week and get into more of the other stuff. There's been a lot of news, and I'm sure there'll be more news this week. Hop onto sidequesting.com and take a look at our summer game events list. There's a lot of stuff happening over the next few weeks. I think there was the RGG Studio announced their stuff going on in a few weeks as well. So there's just all kinds of things happening. So hop on there, hop into the Discord, because that's where we like to hang out and chat about stuff. The team wasn't on. I was actually, I was hoping that Zach was going to come on because we could have gushed about Succession, which was phenomenal, but whatever, maybe next time. But you got stuck with us, happily stuck with us. Taylor, thank you very much. It's always good to chat with you. You can find Taylor at Taylor Bliss. You can find me at Dodonsk. Just find us in the Discord. Just go into the site and click on the Discord. I got to put a big banner up there. That way people can find us easier. But look on the post for this podcast. Other than that, we'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest. Goodbye, everybody. Take care. Happy Memorial Day.
Bye.